In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys my brand new 6'7" undersized pure inside center. I know a lot of people love these sort of pure inside centers and people love undersized centers. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to be showing you guys just my first rec gameplay on this build. Literally the first and only rec game I have played so far on this build. It went crazy, okay? I already knew it was going to be a good build, but in terms of actually being able to see the badges and everything else, I will quickly take you guys into the build at the end. But this is what the build is currently looking like. Again, it's a pure inside build. I actually did put my post control or my cap breaker on my post control, and you guys will see you have so many options when you guys look at the builder in terms of what to do with your cap breakers. You can pretty much go crazy, okay? So, and I recently just found out that, you know, your boy does only max 5 cap breakers per category. Don't ask me why, but it still works on this build, thankfully. But in terms of like dunks and everything else, you don't really have any dribble moves. I mean, this is what I'm currently using. I didn't really show too much of my dribbling in this gameplay. Again, it's literally the first rec game. Still trying to kind of understand the build and kind of get to know it a little bit better. But in terms of the dunks and everything else, you get really good dunks, and also the potential with the cap breaker is absolutely insane. But anyways, let's get into this rec gameplay, right? This crazy first rec gameplay, and then we're going to go into the builder, and we're going to obviously have a bit more discussion about the badges and attributes of this particular undersized build. So here we are in the rec, our very first gameplay. Now, look what 2K did. 2K does not respect your boy, bro. Like, how can 2K give us a AI center whilst my build is actually an actual center? But thankfully for me, I also had an AI. So what I did this whole game was I pretty much just switched to their center. I pretty much guarded their center the entire game, so it wasn't too bad. But again, it's just a bit weird that I'm a center, but 2K doesn't even like respect it. They really give you an AI and they slot that AI into the center position, which is a bit weird to me. But anyways, yeah, this gameplay, man, look, being undersized, I've always known obviously the pros and the cons of it. And one of the first things which I will talk about more when we get into the builder is I already know straight away. As soon as a center sees like an undersized big, the first thing they'll do is back you down. So I already anticipated that in making the build. Again, people are going to test you when you try to drive into the lane. The speed as well, you guys will be able to see like the speed people always talk about agility being super important, but I think the speed is just as important. As you guys can see, that was goaltending, but hey, this was kind of me making my presence known. Like, listen, this ain't not gonna be like a sweet spot right here. Now, when it comes to the rebounding, you guys can see again, we're able to snag pretty much the bigger center. Again, if there is one thing I'll be able to change on this build, obviously in situations like that, if I could shoot on this build, that would be absolutely insane. But then you can't get all the stats I'm getting right now. So again, we're still right here, still getting the rebound. So I thought to myself, hey, let me just test out this post control. Okay, now bearing in mind, I don't have like my maxed, badges. Yeah, I don't have, Hall of Fame poster poet. I don't have like gold, post powerhouse. So sorry, well, post up powerhouse, whatever it's called, right? So it's still very fairly new. But again, I was just trying to get a feel. Okay, the first game is always like, how does this build feel? Okay, I like the rebound. You guys can see we are snagging. The speed is very nice. Okay, now for me, personally, I think I'll probably use this build as like a rec, like it's not a rec, but like a rep grind. Okay, so if there's like double rep and a rec for the next event, for example, I will probably use this build and I'll tell my friends, hey, listen, just throw me a ton of alley oop, because when you play Randy's, you guys can see that guy was so frustrated. I was boxing him out. It's just I'm so quick. But when you play randoms, you don't get a lot of opportunities for them to throw you a lot of lobs. But again, it was just, I was trying to test the post control game. Obviously, still only on silver. You guys will see at the end. This is during my first game. So it was still working though. It was still working. So I was just trying to get an understanding now. I think for me, there's nothing wrong with being a pure inside, and I think you're going to be lethal, which unfortunately your boy is. I'm not skilled in that respect just yet. If you're able to post hook on this build, right, or just not just this build, but any inside center build, you're going to be so deadly, because what tends to happen is once you can back someone down successfully, a lot of these guys they start basically waiting for you in the paint, anticipating for you to drop step. But again, another rebound right there. So if you're able to hook to kind of mix up or kind of change your game up a little bit, it really helps. Or having a ball handle like this build, okay, right here, I made some BS stuff right there very early. But again, these are good signs, okay, because I didn't even time it and I'm still making it. I like how flawlessly I can just dunk the ball. Like, the dunks look very easy. I don't know if it's because the vertical, the ratings, but there is no struggle at all. Even right here, you guys can see, look how easy I'm just kind of, bearing in mind, the 6'7s don't get contact dunks, right? So I'm still able to glide in the paint. Even, again, it's one of those things where I didn't even jump for that, and I still got a light pressure, and that's because I have interior on this build. So I didn't even have to jump to get a light pressure in that build or in that play. Right here, this guy tried to go for like a layup. You guys can see my very first game already snatch blocking. Okay, so I was feeling good. I was feeling good, but here's another thing I was talking about. Look, I got the rebound. Look at the speed difference. Look where the center is, bro. I left the center in the dust, bro. Like even if my guy had missed that, I would have got the board. So when people talk to me, or I think someone made a comment in the last video saying speed is not as important as agility. Trust me, speed is just as important. Obviously, when you're like in the 7-foot builds or whatever, you probably won't be able to notice the difference, but you guys can see the difference in speed. Now, the takeover I am using is actually barbecue chicken. So if I get the rebound, I decide just to post these guys up, I can still do that. But again, look, another one where I barely jumped and I got a light pressure in it and he missed it, right? So I know people kind of talk about the interior being a bit weird, but for me, I'm always going to opt for a high interior over a high block. Okay, that's the one thing I've definitely learned never to do again. But you guys can see right here, we just volleyball that. And this is all in one game, by the way. This is all in one game. So I was very good. I was feeling good about this. I got 24 rebounds versus the center. Again, first game glitches or sort of first game, whatever it's called. So I'm kind of thinking, okay, what would happen once I get all my badges maxed out? Okay, my alley oops, my driving dunk, like just going absolutely nuts with this build, or learning the dribble moves as well to kind of do the layups and everything else. So you guys can see it's a very good build. My badges are just popping up right there, look, all on silver. So very, it's like a baby build. Okay, literally the first game, but it was so good. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna drop a video on this. We help this guy, this rec random, I don't know who he is, get to started too. But let's go into the builder right now. I'm going to discuss the build in a bit more detail. Here we are in the builder. Okay, I was basically thinking of going for like a Dennis Rodman type of build, but I was just like, I can't be arsed. I kind of like the way my player looks, like the default look, so I'm just going to keep that. But went 6'7", 270 pounds. Yeah, we literally maxed the weight on this build. So for a lot of you bigs out there that are like, oh, you're so small, listen, you're still a big boy, okay? You are heavy, right? So you're not going to be some guy that can just easily move. Obviously, max wingspan, because we ain't got no shooting, so why else would you not have max wingspan in this build? So this is what the build is looking like now. Obviously, like I mentioned at the start of the video, you have cap breakers and you guys have different options. Now, obviously, I could have opted for using my +5 on the drive and dunk, obviously. So we would have got like a 90, I could have gone for the 93 drive and dunk. You guys can see to get gold posterizer, but more importantly, you also be able to get the elite contact alley-oops at 92 drive and dunk, which is really good. Now, realistically, you actually don't get anything in terms of animations for 90 stand and dunk with this build. The max you get for like under 610 is actually at 85, but you still get that gold rise up, which works well. So I'd rather have gold rise up than not have it, especially if you're a pure insider. You want to be able to finish on the inside. Obviously, with your close shot, I do realize the way the paint is this year, I've seen centers that have gold paint prodigy, and trust me, like the way they go back up is insane. Like you don't even have time to react. Like they get the ball and it's literally the ball is back in the paint. But I have silver in almost all my builds and I'm not struggling with it. So it's not like gold is needed, but gold is really good. So again, just kind of giving you guys an idea if you guys want to make some tweaks or some changes. Now the post control, I opted for a 90 because if I want to be a pure inside, okay, now you're going to get certain games where things aren't going well for yourself or for your teammates, especially when you're playing with rec randoms, and you want to be able to create something, just something out of nowhere, right? This is why I have that post control that gives me the ability to back people down. And again, I use my +5, which obviously would give us post up poet, so you'll be able to spin people a lot easier. And don't forget, you can use your the season max +1 to be able to get it to legend, so you can actually use legend post up poet, which is absolutely insane. Now talking about cap breakers, I will get to the defensive stats in a second. Again, you can use your cap breaker for strength. Okay, you can put your strength up to a 95. Okay, which would not only give you Hall of Fame brick wall, but it would also give you post powerhouse on Hall of Fame. So if you combine that post powerhouse Hall of Fame with the post up poet on Hall of Fame, and then you combine the fact that you can put either of these with your +1 for the season to legend, you're going to be going insane. So if you want to use post powerhouse, where you just on legend, just backing people down, drop stepping them, dunking on them, you can. And the good thing is, if you have time to grind for the +15 cap breaker, good luck to all the people that will do that. Probably not going to be anytime soon for me. You can get 93 driving dunk, 95 post control, and then a 95 strength. Okay, so it's pretty insane. Now, again, the playmaking is just so I can have something, okay? I like, if you're going to be a pure inside and also you're going to be undersized, I like having some form of ball handling, okay? It doesn't have to be anything special, but sometimes you get the ball in the perimeter, you kind of want to be able to create or kind of, if you have 89 driving dunk or 93 driving dunk, you need to be able to dribble into a dunk sometimes. Okay, you just don't want to be, you don't want to be just an alley oop kind of guy. Okay, you want to be able to dribble and then contact people, or in the fast break when you get the ball and there's a clear lane. You want to have that bit of speed, a bit of dribbling to be able to dunk into there. Now, for me personally, I've played with all kinds of people this year. I've played with people that have like a 90 passing, 85 passing. Now, don't get me wrong, they're still good, but I think 78 is like the best value for money, because like guys that have 90 are still getting the ball stolen. Okay, on the fast break, people are like NFL players out here. They're still grabbing those passes like it's absolutely insane. Now, again, anticipating this build, I opted for a 88 interior defense. Now, if you're 7 foot plus, a lot of 7 foot centers don't go for 88 interior defense because you're normally good. Okay, if you're tall, the game gives you a lot of good animations, so you're good, right? But when you're small, okay, especially at the center, and you're playing against a 7'1" or a 7 foot build, they can see the height difference straight away. And if they have post control, that's the first thing they're gonna go to. You guys saw in that video earlier on, the guy went straight into the post, right? So I know this is gonna happen as an undersized center, which is why I opted for 88. The 88 is gonna give us that post lockdown, okay? So all that drop step animation is gonna be a bit, weird. And also, if you're playing centers that can successfully, maybe sometimes drop step you, you can pull post lockdown Hall of Fame. Now, you're going to be able to guard everyone. All the Shaq builds or whatever, they're going to be struggling against you. So that's the reason why I opted for it. Now, if you're a predominant center, I don't think you need a high perimeter defense, okay? I don't think you do, but at the same time, I don't want to not have any defense, right? It's like perimeter. I need to be able to, because you're small, right? That's the whole point of being small, is you're quick. So you want to be able to switch onto the guards if you need to. This doesn't mean you can stay on the guards, but if you switch on the pick, for example, you can kind of, be a little bit of defense. You're not like a complete cone where they just dribble past you. So you still have that on-ball menace, you still have the challenger, but this is not predominant to guard ball or anything. It's just for the rare occasion when you do switch. Now, for the still, I only opted for, silver interceptor. I think it's fine. Obviously, gold is better, but I don't really go for like on-ball stills. I've said in my previous video, so I don't see the need of going for like silver glove either. And also, you're a center. Most of the time, you're just gonna be getting lane passes anyway. And now with your block, you get paint patroller. And when it comes to the rebounding, obviously Hall of Fame rebound chaser, Hall of Fame pogo, Hall of Fame box out beast. And you still have the 80 offensive. Now, I also opted for a high vertical because you're small. Okay, I want to be able to get all the ability, all the boost I can get when it comes to my rebounding, my blocks. Doesn't affect dunks, but it always feels good just to have it there anyway. I also unlocked animations, so do bear that in mind. But yeah, this is it. I only have an 80 speed on this build. So when I say 80, I mean, that is very fast for a center. I mean, no center on this build, it's 6'7" plus, 7 foot plus to have an 80 speed. But yeah, that is pretty much it for this build. Now, what are my overall take on this build? For me personally, I don't think a pure inside is my play style. I will be honest with you guys. I'm just going to be honest, okay? Talking about playing from the experience. But I can see how it can be useful. Like, for example, again, if there's double rep and one of my mates wants to play twos, for example, I don't really have like a twos build right now as like, the center type of build to play with for the twos or the threes. So if there's like a double rep in the park and they want to play, I'll be like, okay, cool. I'm just going to go on this build. You go just throw me a bunch of alley-oops. We're going to, rep up a lot fast, and I still have the ability to be able to guard the centers, do a little bit of something. So here it is. You'll let me know what you can change or what you guys will tweak about it. Again, it's a pure inside, so the shooting, you can't go any lower than that unless you want to lower your free throw, which I'm not going to do. You need to be able to hit some kind of free throw. And you get a comparison of Bam. Obviously, Bam was one of my favorite centers, but he can shoot mid-range. This build can't. And you get defensive anchor. Now, fun fact, when I did upgrade my build with the post control, it actually gave me an option to choose Paint Beast. But Paint Beast kind of sounds mad, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really know. But if you guys want to opt for Paint Beast, then it's up to you. But I prefer defensive anchor. And yeah, this is the 6'7" pure inside build. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and the detailed breakdown of it so far. Yeah, any comments or anything you guys would tweak or change, y'all leave it in the comment section. And I'll catch you boys in the next one.